Her heart literally stopped beating when she noticed he was really looking at her and not just seeing through her. First time in 2 long years in which she had pined with unrequited love. She had to mentally pinch herself before she did something embarrassing. But boy, oh boy, his eyes were simply gorgeous. They were intense and beautiful and had a way of stripping off layers of protection till they had dug out the truth from a person's soul, she mused. Quit being a fool, Lynda, she mentally chided herself. Then he spoke. And you, what do you think? It took Lynda a full minute to realize he was talking to her. No one could blame her because she wasn't used to him speaking directly to her. Sure, he always returned her greeting, but since she didn't walk directly with him, their paths rarely crossed. Um, I think I prefer this suggestion, sir. Her voice was cool and efficient. It did not betray her inner struggle. His gaze lingered as his perceptive eyes searched her face. She wondered what he was trying to find, but outwardly she remained cool, calm, collected. No one knew about her huge crush on the boss. Well, except for John. He knew and was always finding ways to needle her about it, even threatening to reveal to the boss himself. Not that she expected the boss to believe him. She had never given herself away, not even once. After what seemed like an eternity, but in truth was probably a few seconds, the boss finally looked away, and John used the moment to silently move closer to Lynda. He knows, John whispered. Lynda stiffened and said through tightly clenched teeth, "Not now, please. Don't start." John gave her a slight helpless shrug, which was accompanied by a mischievous grin. Suddenly, Lynda felt hot. She concentrated on breathing evenly, trying her best to ignore John. He was only needling her, she firmly told herself. Eventually, the meeting came to an end, and Lynda gratefully aimed for the door, but the boss spoke to her for the second time that day, making her freeze on the spot. "Hold on a second, Miss Shehu. I'd like to have a word with you, please." John winked at her as he made his way out of the conference room with the others. She forced herself to turn and look at the boss. His face relaxed into a small smile. "I knew," he began. "It's not true," she interrupted desperately. The boss regarded her patiently. "What isn't true?" he simply asked. "Well, what John told you," she answered. Most times it was difficult to read his expression, but Lynda could swear he looked more than a little puzzled. About me and you," she foolishly stammered. "Me and you," he repeated as a statement, not a question. And that was when Lynda's head cleared. It looked like he truly did not know what she was talking about. "Oh," she mouthed silently, feeling very foolish. The boss buzzed his secretary. "Tell John Habila I'd like to see him in my office right now, please." He never took his eyes off a now very scared-looking Lynda. She was in hot pepper soup, and John would pay for it. He'd better be smart and not complete this botched-up work she had unwittingly started. She was so not talking to him, Lynda thought sorely. He just couldn't keep his big mouth shut. He had to go and do exactly what she had feared he would do. How was she ever going to face the boss again? Lynda groaned and covered her face with her hands, wishing she could just disappear. John paused and raised his brows at her. "Linz, you're making this a big deal. It isn't, you know. You need to take a chill pill." "Don't tell me to take a chill pill. You take a chill pill. Why on earth will you tell him that I am afraid of him?" Linda's voice rose with each word. Suddenly, the soul of innocence, John frowned. It was supposed to be a joke. Honestly, you are no fun, Lynn, he told her. Stop calling me that. Just because we work together, that doesn't make us friends. She glared at him. I said you were afraid if you walk with him, you'll not be able to concentrate, given his Prince Charming and all. Though, I didn't have to add that last part. I am sure he is well aware of that. John smiled. And arrogant man that he is, he believed you. And now I am forced to walk with you. Lynda sounded quite bitter. John sobered up. I don't think he took what I said seriously. He actually found it amusing. I'm sorry, Lynda. I didn't know it would upset you this much. Lynda pinched the bridge of her nose with a thumb and forefinger. I have a headache. I'll see you on Monday, she told him quietly. Sure, see you then. He paused, then had to add, Lynn. She made a face at him, and he laughed as she walked away. Exhausted, panting, and gasping for breath, the two friends stopped for a breather. John sat down on the grass with a thud while his friend knelt beside him, bent over forward, both of them trying to catch their breath. The altitude and thin air made the climb difficult, and their muscles burned from the early morning run. John wiped his forehead with a face towel and glanced at his friend before taking a long drink from his water bottle. His friend finally sat down and mimicked John's actions. When do you plan to tell her? TK asked. I don't, was John's clipped reply. TK did not say anything as he quietly regarded his friend. What? John asked, knowing his friend well enough to suspect he wanted to say something, but would not without John's permission. Just say it, John said, then drank more water. You are a great person, John, and smart too, and awesome and so handsome. Yeah, let's keep all that and get to the main point, John interrupted. Very well then. You know that I know that she doesn't know how you really feel about her, right? TK said, and couldn't hold back a chuckle as John gave him an annoyed look. Why the convoluted sentence? What are you really saying? John inquired. Tell her how you feel about her, and let her decide, TK said. Sankey is your brother, but he can be so dense sometimes. How can he not know? 2 years, and he still doesn't have a clue? John rose to his feet in one fluid motion. TK looked up at him, shielding his eyes from the morning sun with one hand. John, he knows. What do you mean he knows? Like you said, it has been 2 years. He's not blind, neither is he deaf. He knows she has a crush on him, TK revealed and got up too. John's face fell. She'll think I told him. Did you tell him? TK laughed. Come on, no one told him. He figured it out himself. Then why on earth hasn't he done something about it? John unsuccessfully tried to hide his disappointment. Something like what? TK wanted to know. Like ask her out, of course. John wiped at his face. Once again, TK regarded him quietly. Oh, for goodness sake, out with it, John growled. TK looked his best friend straight in the eye. Because Sankey knows you are in love with her. TK knew about his true feelings for Lynda, and that scared him to the skies and back. If TK knew, John thought to himself, then many others were somehow bound to know, because he was certain that he had never told his best friend that he had fallen for the stubborn beauty, hook, line, and sinker. Something is bothering you, John. What is it? His mother asked, concern marring her lovely face. It's nothing, Mom. Just small issues at work, he lied. His mother's frown deepened. Is Sankey bothering you? I know he's known you since childhood, but, she began. Not at all. At work, he is the boss. Not a lot of people know that our friendship goes way back, John quickly said. Truly, Mom, it's nothing. Would I lie to you? He gave her his best angelic smile, blinking innocently. Yes, John, you would, but I won't press. I'm sure you'll tell me when you're ready. His mother laughed as she continued to pick stones from the tray of beans on her laps. Something was definitely wrong with him. Lynda should be glad that John had sort of stopped teasing her. About 10 working days of peace from him, which should make her very happy, but for unexplainable reasons, Lynda discovered it only made her mad at him. If she was a suspicious person, which she probably was, she'd think he was avoiding her. Anytime they worked together, he was all business and didn't even joke with her anymore, and that annoyed her more than the needling she usually got from him. So at close of work, she watched him, and when she noticed he wasn't really paying attention as he unlocked his car, she ran, opened the passenger's side, and slid into the car, catching him off guard. John bent and peered through the window. Seeing Lynda there, he prayed for a steady heartbeat as he entered and sat beside her. He started the car and shielded his gaze by putting on dark sunshades. Please put on your seatbelt, he told her as he clicked his into place. He had quietly accepted her stunt without questioning it, surprising Lynda. John, Lynda called as he pulled into the traffic. Yeah, he answered, his gaze on the windshield. Are you still angry at what I said about us not being friends? Why will I be angry? There was no laughter in his voice, which was very odd. Well, you have practically avoided me for almost 2 weeks now, she accused. John had to make himself relax, his tight grip on the steering. Why should I be angry about that? You only pointed out a fact. He risked a glance at her. She looked puzzled and a little sad. It doesn't mean we can't become friends, she said hopefully. John silently counted to 10, then asked, Why? Why not? Lynda countered, and John did not comment further. When he reached the general area where she lived, John followed her directions and stopped in front of her house. He didn't stop the car, and Lynda could not explain why that disappointed her. She got out and bent to look at him through the window. Thanks for the ride. John finally turned his head and looked at her. Those blasted shades, she couldn't see his eyes. I didn't have a choice. There was a ghost of a smile teasing his lips, and that gave her a little hope to salvage their dying friendship. Come in and have a drink. I'm sure traffic will fizzle out in another 30 minutes or so, since I made you drive in the opposite direction of your house, Lynda offered, and prayed he would accept. He finally smiled, making Lynda realize she had been holding her breath. Nah, I think I'll pass, but thanks for the offer. See you at work, Lynda. It wasn't until his car had disappeared from view that Lynda realized she had been standing and staring with her mouth still slightly open at the sting of rejection. He had even stopped calling her Lynn, the arrogant creep. He had rejected her offer of friendship. Fine, for all she cared, he might as well jump into a crocodile-infested river. Henceforth, she would ignore him, Lynda resolutely determined, as she stormed into her house and slammed the door shut. No matter how hard she tried, she couldn't outdo him. John had mastered the art of indifference, and it galled her that she couldn't beat him. She thought ignoring him would upset him, but he was the one who seemed to be ignoring her, so she simply gave up. What was wrong with her? Lynda thought angrily. Did it matter whether he wanted to be friends or not? It was Sankey she was attracted to, and Sankey, the boss, had asked her to be his date for his brother's wedding. She should be thrilled about the turn of events, but she wasn't. Not really. because John was going to be the best man at the wedding. It hadn't even bothered her when Sankey jokingly revealed that her presence would shield him from single ladies and their matchmaking mothers. Sankey was young, eligible, and rich, and though he knew he had to settle down soon, he was wary of gold diggers and spoiled brats. Too bad he'd only just noticed Lynda. She was a beauty. She was gentle and intelligent. He would have used the crush she had on him to his advantage, but he couldn't because John loved her, although he had denied that vehemently when Sankey finally confronted him about it. Lately, it seemed her attention had shifted. Whether she knew it or not, it seemed her heart had chosen who it wanted, and it wasn't him. Of that, he was certain. Sankey simply wanted to play Cupid, and that made him smile. He was looking forward to it. John was exhausted. He couldn't wait to have a hot bath, some decent food, and a comfortable bed to sleep in. He stifled a yawn and patiently waited for TK's wedding reception to end. He hadn't slept for more than 3 hours in more than a week. TK owed him big time, and he told him just as much. As people began to leave, the groom simply laughed and said it was a deal. People were trooping over to personally greet the newlywed, while John and the rest of the bridal train transferred the wedding presents to a designated vehicle. They had almost finished putting all the gifts in the car when someone grabbed his arm with enough force to turn him around. As he turned, he was surprised to see Lynda glaring at him. Smiling casually, he said, "What's up, Linz?" She simply glared some more, but didn't say a word. John sobered up and gently asked, "What have I done now?" "What haven't you done? I know you told Sankey about my pitiful crush and made him ask me to the wedding. Do you know how humiliating that feels?" She was struggling not to yell. The others curiously glanced at them, but wisely kept their distance. John sighed. "I have no idea what you're talking about, Lynda. Just leave me alone. You hear me?" She dragged in an angry breath. "Why are you avoiding me?" she finally asked, the fight going out of her. "Lynda, he asked you out. That's all that matters. Grab hold of it and explore it. Stop being a pain in my behind. Do you even know what you want? Because from where I am standing, you seem to be changing your mind every single day." Frustration made his voice husky with emotion. "Don't talk to me that way," was her weak reply. John gave her a disappointed look, then simply turned and walked away. What on earth was wrong with her? Lynda frowned as she watched him go. Sankey walked up to her and stood beside her, but her gaze was on John. He cleared his truth and said, "Do you think it is wise to let pride do the talking for you?" Lynda did not reply. "We should get married, you and I. Say in 3 months' time. Would you like a big wedding or a small one?" Sankey hid a smile when Lynda turned a puzzled look on him, almost a full minute after he had spoken. "I'm sorry, were you talking to me?" And truly she had not heard a single thing that he had said. Sankey cupped her chin with a hand and looked at her. "You are a smart lady, Lynda, but right now you're making me doubt that. Go after him." "Why should I be the one to go? He has never said if he even likes me or not," Lynda bristled. Sankey chuckled. "And he probably will not tell you if he still thinks you harbor feelings for his best friend's older brother. Now go." Lynda sighed. "Fine." John saw her coming his way and immediately changed direction, increasing his strides. Lynda simply slipped off her heels, picked them up, and ran after him. She caught up with him as he rounded the hall building to where they couldn't be seen. He stopped abruptly and turned to look at her. No one said a word as she took in deep gulps of air, trying to catch her breath. Finally, she opened her mouth to speak, but John laid a finger against her lips. You finally realized that you want me, right? He asked, his gaze holding hers. She hesitated, then slowly nodded. He took his finger away and folded his arms. Why? He asked. I honestly wish I knew. I don't know. Lynda gave a helpless shrug. What changed then? John pressed. You changed. I I miss you so much. What had she to lose? It was all or nothing. John unfolded his arms and framed her face with both hands. You can have me on the one condition, he said. Lynda waited. When he didn't speak, she asked, what condition? You cannot ever say we aren't friends, and I get to call you Lynns, he teased. Lynda struggled to keep a straight face. Not all the time, I hope. She gave him a winsome smile. All right, sometimes I can call you Lynns. Sometimes, right? He laughed and she laughed too, nodding in agreement. Lynda sighed as he hugged her. She realized that he had always been right in front of her, but she had been too blind to see. She was glad Sankey had been there to give her the push she needed. And that's how it's done, little brother. Sankey clapped TK on the shoulder as they watched Lynda and John walk arm in arm, smiling at each other. He then turned to his new sister-in-law. Be nice, love, and introduce me to your chief. The bride smiled as the chief went all shy. Uncle SK, meet Doris. Doris, meet my dashing brother-in-law, Sankey. That's the end of our story.